Venom, 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 Venom.
We'll take it. There we go. We're talking about Venom a week late. Why did we wait a week?
Woo!
Well, we just didn't see it. All right, like fucking,
It's
life got in
Chad.
the way.
It's always Chad.
It was me this time, all right? But it's usually Ben. Hey, Ben, have you seen Smile yet?
It's the Forbidden Movie.
Have you seen Smile? Have you seen
the
Smile?
Forbidden Movie?
Yeah, it's always Ben.
I have not.
It's always Ben. He hasn't seen Smile. Bitch. This comes out on Monday, right? So go vote. Go fucking vote. Go to your polls and vote. Go do that shit. Voting. America. Go vote. Yeah,
America.
Venom. We can do a ranking too, because there's 2 other Venom movies.
Yeah. Trilogy. Venom
that
trilogy.
whole thing. Trilogy. What'd you think? New Venom, The Last Dance.
The Last Dance. Look, I'm glad it came out. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I saw it. It's pretty much what I expected. I mean, it was enjoyable. It was funny. And the story felt like Sony's story.
Yeah.
Very, very shallow story. Not too much to think about. Didn't really feel any emotion towards any scenes other than Venom and Tom Hardy,
Finale, yeah.
And that was the only reason I felt emotion towards, Tom Hardy losing Venom. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie, see the movie.
What are you doing watching this video? Yeah.
Why are you watching this if you haven't seen the movie? So anyway,
what the fuck?
When Tom Hardy's like seeing Venom die and sacrifice for him, yeah, it was a little bit like, oh, this is like, I've liked this trilogy. Like it's been an enjoyable watch. The movies aren't great, but it's an enjoyable watch. But the only reason that you felt that emotion towards Tom Hardy and Venom is because of the other movies. Like this movie didn't really build anything up to make me feel anything towards any of the characters. This movie specifically.
Yeah.
I think that family was irrelevant. I didn't really. It felt a lot like the non-Zack Snyder Justice League. You remember that family?
Yeah.
Because I don't. But
that
but it was
felt like. You know what the movie felt like to me? It felt like those assignments you did in high school where it was like, this has to be 6 pages and you only have like a page of good ideas. So you're just like filling shit out until like you get to the end.
And you add like to whom it may concern,
Yeah, that's what this movie felt
dear.
like. Like they had a pretty good idea for a good third act. They had a couple setup things, and that's all they really had. And they were just kind of like filling out the rest of the movie with whatever they could think of. Yeah,
the family was unneeded. A lot of the stuff was unneeded. The Christmas tree lady, I couldn't care less about her. I really couldn't. It didn't make sense. Why are you talking about Christmas trees right now in a Venom movie? When are we going to see Spider-Man? Spoiler alert, we didn't. That was really annoying. The only thing that could have saved this movie from being, spoiler alert again, from being last on my ranking was if Tom Holland showed up, or Andrew Garfield showed up. That's the only thing. If Spider-Man showed up in this movie, and there's so many things that were already set up that you could have showed, but you didn't, And it was just, hey, look, we want to make a little bit of money, and Tom Hardy wants to stop playing Venom, so we're gonna wrap it up, and that's what this movie was.
Yeah.
There's not a lot that is good about this movie, and I use the word enjoyable because it is an enjoyable watch. Because it is Tom Hardy, and I am a huge Tom Hardy fan. It's fun, it's enjoyable, but in terms of being a good movie, the humor was good at times, but overall it was just eh. CGI, I guess, is the best thing in this movie because some of the designs of the other symbiotes and the monster, where he's kind of like a chainsaw out the back, that was cool.
Yeah.
It was stupid. I mean, it was stupid, but the monster design was cool.
It was a little over the top, but yeah.
It just, I don't know. It felt like this movie was like, what haven't we done yet that we could do? and that's what this
Venom's
movie
in
was.
Vegas. Venom's looking at the Statue of Liberty. Venom's swimming through
Yeah,
the ocean and getting frogs and getting fish and getting a
yeah,
horse. Like we're just like
yeah,
we're on the side of a plane. Like we're just fine. Like we haven't done this yet. We can do that.
yeah.
My fan's going crazy right
But
now.
it was look, it was fun. Um, I was laughing quite a bit because some of the scenes were funny, and it was like a stupid laugh, you know. Like he
Yeah.
did not just turn into a horse. You know, like, oh, he's a frog. Now he's a
Okay, I
fish.
gotta go
Like,
lie.
what are we
That
doing?
sequence, the horse sequence was pretty awesome when they were playing "Don't
Oh
Stop Me
yeah.
Now" and he's cursing him out while he's going over.
Oh yeah. No, yeah,
Yeah,
it was funny. This was probably
it
some
was
of the
definitely
best
funny.
humor in the trilogy. I would say some of the best scenes that made me laugh were probably in this movie. But yeah, outside of
Yeah,
funny, there's so many things that, and you guys know that the biggest thing for me is when I can think of when I personally, the non movie maker, can think of better scenes and a better story. I get irritated when I can think of a better story. And I was just
yeah.
like,
Well, there's
I could
not. There's no
definitely
story at all.
exactly. Like I could have made a better Venom movie if I was a writer. I really think I could have made a better Venom
Yeah,
movie,
there's
you
no
know?
story. It's like an outline. It's like there's not much here.
Yeah. And if you didn't want to cast I'm just saying, how are you going to go to New York and not see Spider-Man? That makes no sense to me. Oh,
Yeah,
anyway, there's a lot of things bad about this movie, but the bright spot is it was really funny and enjoyable. So, yeah, your turn, Chad.
yeah. This was like kind of. I'll spoil it as well. This is probably in last place on my Venom ranking. The of the Venom movies, I would say all three of them are quote unquote bad movies. They're all fun movies. They're all movies that I'm enjoyable. As I like to say, if me and Ben are hanging out and he throws on a Venom movie, I'm not going to be like "fuck you." I'm like, all right, we're watching Venom.
Yeah,
They're all
yeah,
fun, and a lot of that is the relationship between Venom and Eddie, as played by Tom Hardy, who is an amazing actor. Some of it's too much, like in the first Venom, but that is the selling point of the Venom movies is that relationship and their banter and the little adventures that they get to go on. That's what you show up to a Venom movie to see. And to be fair, Venom Last Dance gets that part right. The thing that it absolutely has to get right, or this movie's not going to work at all, they got the relationship.
yeah,
Unfortunately, they don't really have much else. I mean, like
yeah.
there's a bunch of little things about it that I'm like, you got Keely Jones from Ted Lasso. Let her have a British accent, dude, because her American accent clearly
Why?
isn't
Why is
isn't
she
all
American? That was so
that
annoying. She
right.
was so good. She's so good in Ted Lasso. Okay, and there's few
Yeah,
people. There's very like in terms of actors and actresses. There's few people who cannot do a different accent well. You know, and that is
yeah,
okay. That is really okay. It's not a
yeah,
big deal if she is British. It really isn't. You know,
yeah.
but
And
why?
she's a good ass actor. That's the thing.
She's a great actress, but she cannot do an American accent. Another easy one that we've already talked about. Chris Hemsworth cannot do an American accent. He just can't. So stop trying to make him do it. You
Yeah,
know,
and
he
the
just can't.
Transformers. It was like,
And
oh
the
my god.
Transformers, you can't like you can notice that. You know, Keely is great.
Yeah.
Keely's great. She's so funny. She's one of the best characters in Ted Lasso. You know, but why do you make her have an
By the
American
way,
accent? The entire time, me and Haley are side eyeing each other because it's like, are we for real now? This is who you casted? You know?
dude, it pulled me right out of the movie. I was like, dude, like her
Yeah.
American accent's clearly not all the way there, and also everyone knows her from Ted Lasso as Keely. So like those two combined together, it's like every time she said something, it would just pull me out of me like, what? Really, dude? Like
Mm,
I'm trying to get locked into your story here. You're not letting me get there. There's not really a story there to get locked into, honestly. I mean, listen, I'm with Ben. I was having like a little silly laugh, like when he's making a drink out of Danny Rojas's like little bar area,
yeah.
and being like, Eddie, be a real man. You're drunk. You're gonna get more drunk.
Yeah.
Locks up a guy
That
in
was
a dog cage.
funny.
Just locks up a guy in a dog cage. Says, "Who's a bad boy?" As doing the horse thing. Like there's a bunch of really funny stuff in here. And there's a through line of Venom probably knows that this is the end, and he's trying to enjoy his last few moments with Eddie, and like have a little sing along in the car. Again,
Yeah,
good scene that I enjoyed. And I will
it
say
was funny.
the ending was effective. I actually thought it was probably the best ending of all three movies. Where
Yeah.
where these things are established to be tough and they're intense and they're chewing up symbiotes and people and they're scary and Venom has to do that big sacrifice. And listen, I saw it with Liv, and she cried and I could kind of feel it coming up because Venom's like, I'm gonna save Eddie. He's been having a whole movie being nice to Eddie. He puts the tank door on him and like puts a little extra time on him, and you're like, oh, and it ends with Memories from Maroon 5, of course. It's
Memories
cheap.
was the perfect song, by the way. It was the perfect song
Listen,
to have, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good song. It was cheap, but listen, it like I again, the important part is the Eddie and Venom relationship, and I'm very not often, and I'm going to say something like this because I'm very big on like I like to give credit to directors, I like to give credit to writers, I also like to give credit to actors. I don't like to narrow it to one person. This is an instance where all three of these movies kind of land squarely on the shoulders of Tom Hardy because
Yeah.
he as an actor executes Venom and Eddie perfectly. And if you had, I'm not gonna say not anyone else, but no one else is responsible for how good that is except him in my mind
Well, Tom
because
Tom
of the way
Hardy's
that he
the
pulls it
voice
off.
of Venom, and he's playing like he's playing Eddie Brock. Like he's having conversations
Yeah,
with himself. No, I don't think anybody else can do it better than Tom Hardy did.
yeah. But then, like, there's a million holes in this, like weird, like mistakes. And like, why? Like, the thing is like this fast now, and it can't catch a running Eddie Brock who doesn't even have Venom turned on. But like early in the movie, it jumped from the ground and landed on a plane, or like or like the military people are like, oh, Eddie's running through the desert. Like, oh, we found him. He's in the desert. And one scene later, they're just on top of him. And they're like, okay, now we're gunning you down. Or like in the casino, when they're in the suite, he's just like, oh, I want to become Venom to dance to Dancing Queen with Mrs. Chen. It's like, that's the thing that's going to drag it to you. You know better. Do you like, like everyone, Eddie's like, it's going to notice. They're like, we don't care. It's like, you should. You're going to die. That's the whole point. You should care. But
That was
yeah,
probably that was one of the other scenes where I was laughing. I was genuinely like, "Are
I
you
was like,
really
what
risking
the
your life to
fuck?
dance with Mrs. Chen?" And then I'm like, "What is happening?"
Also, what are the implications here? Like, are they like doing is like Mrs. Chen the Peter to Deadpool that Mrs. Chen is to Venom? Is that what we're saying here? Is like
Yeah, yeah.
is Venom trying to get there with Mrs. Chen? Like, the thing is, I'm criticizing this movie and I'm laughing because that's how absurd it is. And listen, I get the frustration of like you want a good story from your movie. We've had two movies this far, and neither of them had like a super compelling like arc and story. They're both B movies. This one's not even a B movie.
This one is
It's just
C
straight up
plus
bad.
at best. You know,
Yeah, it's just straight up bad
at
in terms of
best.
like
Yeah,
quality of movie. But it's fun and it is again overused term, but it is very lazy to be like all we need is get the Eddie and Venom thing right, and everything else can go fuck itself. And like we'll just throw something together, and yeah, that's good. I was like, yeah, it's lazy. It is lazy as hell to do that. I'd like a better movie, but look, this movie doesn't make me like Sony more. I'm not giving Sony any more credit. I'm not giving anyone any kind of credit for this movie except for Tom Hardy, which is again not something I would usually say about almost any movie. But if you've seen the movie, I think you can understand where I'm coming from. It's like, bro, what?
I mean, they
There's no
kind of took a
like even the
page.
things
They,
they were
they
trying,
kind of yeah.
even the things they were trying to set up, like Keely Jones has a symbiote, or we got that guy out in space. When they were setting it up, I was like devastated that Venom was dying, so I didn't even give a fuck. I was like, oh, you're setting shit up.
Yeah.
Oh, Otto Hightower is running away, playing a very different character from the one he plays in House of the Dragon. He's like a hippie alien-seeking dad. Now, finds a family that's like, we've always wanted to see an alien. It's like, what's
So
going?
this is like that's not even something like how. Why are you gonna cast him? When speculation was that Venom was in the same universe as Andrew Garfield. Why are you going to cast that character who was also the lizard in the first Amazing Spider-Man? Why are you just going to say nope? Or are you just like they look similar, you know? It's like what are we doing? You know?
Yeah,
Um I didn't yeah, I think Venom took a page out of Godzilla Kong, the newest movie, and said that movie did well because they had just a shit ton of Kongs and a shit ton of Godzillas,
Yeah.
just a bunch of monsters. So we're gonna just have all the symbiotes and just go crazy, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what they did. I think it would have been better if they just actually had bigger fight scenes. I mean,
Yeah. Well, like,
and
take
I
it
also
like
think
not
that
even like a. I don't need like a Christopher Nolan Dark Knight kind of story. I just need like a story that's put together from start to finish. You spent enough time writing it. You got the right writers. You cut it up. You got a few drafts, and you put it together. So you go from A to B. We get our end point. That's all I need. I can be totally
yeah,
standard. Why? 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 This is so late. These movies make bank. This one's not.
yeah.
But like Venom and Venom 2 both made big money. Like spend some more
I
time on
don't.
them. Get some good
Yeah,
writers.
I don't understand. I don't understand why. Like, there's some good like thoughts in this story, but I don't know why we just jumped around so much. Because you had, I mean, a good story can be they're struggling to continue to live and coexist. That's what they're kind of tapping into. Like, hey,
Yeah,
Venom is affecting Eddie's life, but because Venom's affecting Eddie's life, Eddie's now affecting Venom's life. You know, and
sure.
they're running out of places to be themselves. They're running out of people to trust. Like that is a like legit movie. If you could like
Yeah,
write that the right way, because like
dig into
on the
that. Yeah,
surface, that's a great movie. But then you start adding, oh yeah, one I think adding Noel is good, but he
yeah.
was too
But
early.
doesn't do shit.
Noel is, for those of you who don't know, Noel is the Thanos of the Spider Verse, the Spider Man universe. Noel is one of the most powerful characters in Marvel, um, outside of like Galactus, if you're gonna go there. So you
Yeah,
add him in the movie, and he loses because of uh, Venom absorbed the monsters and blowing himself up. I mean, like, what are we doing?
yeah,
Like, yeah, I like the idea of introducing
yeah,
him. Probably like an end credit scene. I don't think you're like, oh, Noel's coming. We have to stop. Like, no, he's not coming. He's just tested the waters. That would be fine if he sent the monsters to different planets to test them. That would have been a better story. You know, like, oh, this planet, the monster got defeated. Let's send like all of my pets to other planets and see if they could be the king there. And then all of a sudden, oh, this planet's not the king. Okay, I got to keep an eye on this. Then that's all Noel does, and then we focus on the actual fucking story. Like,
yeah.
I just don't. You have too many
It
moving
doesn't even
parts
really make
for
sense
a.
because like it's like hey, he died in the first movie, came back, and that's why they had the codex. It's like yeah, a whole other movie happened in the meantime. How the fuck has he not found him already?
Yeah,
Like it's happening
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, I
I,
appreciate
I
the
don't understand.
explanation because I'm not the big comic book guy. I'm a big comic book movie guy. I'm not a big comic book reader. So if he's supposed to
Yeah,
be that like
no,
big dick kind of
he is a
guy and he just got shafted
he's
like
a
that,
Thanos level. He's a Thanos level threat in the comics. That's how powerful Noel is. And I think that's why people are hating on it because of, oh, he was in the movie and we only got one glimpse of him. Like, why are you gonna put him in the movie? That is an end
yeah,
credit scene for every, like, the entire movie. That, like, when he was in the movie, that could be an end credit scene. Not even a big deal.
yeah,
Focus
yeah,
on the movie, deal with it later. And then Noel could come back. Venom's done, and then you figure out a way for Noel to come back, and then where you're going from there in this universe. But it
yeah. Who's gonna
just,
take care of him? Madam Web?
yeah.
Like, like who's
There's
gonna?
there's so many, yeah, there's so many
Who's it
things
gonna
that
be?
there's so many things that we just couldn't, I mean, that they didn't execute. And you could have, like, you also have, who is that, the colonel, his character. I actually liked his character. you know I thought that he played his,
There's
I
something
like that
there.
actor. Yeah, I like that actor, and I like his character, and I like his
Yeah,
mindset. He's like, oh, the world's gonna end because these guys have a codex, and the only way they have a codex is if two of them are both living.
But yeah, and if
Okay,
one of them's dead, then
simple
yeah,
solution. Fucking kill
exactly.
him. Like this guy's smart. Like he plays this character how it's supposed to be played. He's a colonel. He's military. He's like makes decisions for like the greater good, and that's a good character. How
Yeah.
the hell are you gonna
Well,
be
here's the
like
thing.
Keeley is yeah? Keeley's like no,
That
that would be bad.
like they had ideas. It's like you have your Keeley
Yeah,
character who has this thing with her brother and something that's built out. You got this Colonel character who has his harsh worldview and some of his Bendine pushed to the edge. Of course, you have Eddie and Venom. You have that like side character who's in the lab with Keeley, and she's clearly got conflicting emotions about what we're doing. We've got this guy who's still alive from the last movie, and we've got our general arc that we want, but we didn't take the time to refine it and to like we want to do X, Y, and Z. We didn't take the time to really iron it out into a good story and a good script. We just had like some good ideas. We kind of threw them on the board, and then they just shot it, put some way together, threw some funny scenes in there, and that was it. It's like you
yeah.
had some good There's some good pieces here. There's some good ideas, and you didn't really want to do shit with it. Right? It
I
sounds
I
mean, but
think
like if you see the movies, like this is
yeah
lazy. This is really lazy work.
yeah. I think the idea of adding Area 51 just completely destroyed any of the other ideas that they had because you're forcing the movie to have the final battle at Area 51 by
Yeah,
introducing Area 51. You know, like you could have, if you didn't have that, you just say, oh, somewhere in Nevada, that's fine. You could still have
yeah.
the Vegas seed. Like you could get rid of the family. You could choose a better place for a final battle. Or I don't know. There's so many better things. Yeah, let's move on because there's only
You
so
want to
much
do
we
the
can talk
ranking?
about. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, the
my
thing is, there
ranking.
really is. We got to like the end of the
Yeah,
movie, like where it was. I was like, this movie's like kind of gonna end now because we're at Area 51. Shit's going on. And then I thought, like, what the fuck has even happened so far in this
yeah,
movie? I
yeah,
remember thinking that's like, this is it, really, guys?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
go
was
for it.
waiting.
What's
Yeah,
your
I was.
ranking?
There's so many. My ranking. I mean, it's a very simple ranking. Chad might disagree with me. But
I think I know where you're going with this.
I've always liked the first movie better than the other two or the other movie. I thought the first movie was overhated compared to the two movies. Right now, I think the first movie is overhated compared to the first two or to the two movies we've gotten. You know, I think the second movie was saved by the end credit scene. I think that was one of the greatest end credit scenes ever. Hindsight, they did nothing with it, but still, that was one of the greatest end credit scenes we've ever seen. But my ranking is, I think it's in terms of chronological order. I think the first Venom movie is the best. Then I would go Last Carnage, or Let There Be Carnage, and then Last Dance. I would go 1, 2, 3 for 1, 2, 3. I like Woody Harrelson. I thought he is good, and like he plays the character exactly how he wants to play the character in every movie he's ever been in. I think he's that talented of an actor,
Oh, he's
and I think he
amazing.
was good. I just think the script didn't do him justice. Like you could tell when someone's a bad actor and when the script's bad. But I don't. I liked the first movie. I thought the story in the first movie was better than the story in the second movie. So I have 1, 2, 3. That's my ranking.
Yeah. So I think I already said that I have three in last place. Again, I think it does have the best third act, just because of it's got a lot of sentimental value because it's the last one and Venom's dying, and we're all really sad about Venom dying. It's actually handled pretty well. In second place, I have the first one. Ben knows that I used to be really mean to that first movie, and I would pick on it a
That's why I
lot,
said
and
it.
I would be like, this movie is bad because of this, because of this, because of this, because of like generic character story's not there. This character arc doesn't make sense. Why would you hold like first of all, I stand by all of that. But what I didn't really realize is that this movie kind of knows it's a B movie. It's not really trying to be anything but a B movie, and it's just trying to hit. Vibe isn't a word I use very much, but like it's like kind of trying to hit that vibe, and I think it does it pretty well. And again, it's that between Eddie and Venom when they come together, that's when the movie really starts to get good. Um, and you get lots of really funny and frankly, it's a nice tone because you don't really get that in any other comic book movies. It's a really interesting vibe for a different audience where they go around a corner and Venom's like, he has shit you've never seen before. And I was like, this is like the wise out of space alien talking to Eddie. And listen, I stand by everything I say where Venom's like, I'm kind of a loser on my own planet, like you are here, but together we can be more. I kind of like this planet that I've been in for 5 seconds. Um, but listen, it's funny, and
It is quick.
it's got a,
Yeah.
it's got like a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's ridiculous. Like at him, like Jetty, jump, hits the elevator, you pussy. Like that's funny. Okay, I'm sorry, that's just
Yeah.
funny. That's a good line. And I think the main reason. Oh, I'll get into this when I talk about the second one, but the Tom Hardy does a good job even without Venom. Some of it's a little weird. It's more mixed. It's better when Venom's there, but like him chewing on a live lobster is not the funniest thing. But you also have like him handing a 20 to that homeless person and being like, no, you're welcome. Again, funny line. So a movie that I used to be really mean to, and now I'm very easy to sink into and have a very nice time with. Venom 2, I think they learned all the right lessons. It's in first place. I think they have learned all the right lessons. They're like, what does everyone like about the first movie? They like Eddie and Venom together. We're going to put our story together, and we're going to trim everything else out, and we're only going to give you the good stuff with Eddie and Venom. Now, they ran into a little bit of a wall because they cut out some of their story, and it moves a little too fast, and you cut out a little too much. You handcuffed yourself a little bit, but I think that you get all the best Eddie and Venom stuff here. I mean, the stuff that really makes me laugh is when Venom comes back and is taking over Michelle Williams, and they're in the parking lot, and Venom goes, Eddie needs to apologize. I need him to beg. That is just too good. Kills me. And listen, it's not. It's again, it's pretty real. Like you get to year 3, 4, 5 of your relationship with somebody, and you can't live with them. You can't really live without them either. It kind of captures that a little bit. And you do get some of that sentiment in there too, where Eddie's driving along and he's sad that Michelle Williams is marrying the other guy, and he's like, "What does it matter if I get crashed? You'll just heal me anyway." And Venom goes, "Don't worry, buddy. I'm gonna take care of you." Lots of great buddy humor. The bromance between these two is great. It's always great to see Woody Harrelson on screen.
Yeah.
He's charming and fun, and he's nice to see in everything, even in movies that are bad. Like Now You See Me Too, I love it. He's in it. Um, and again, he's kind of the center of an issue with this movie is that they cut out so much. The biggest issue is that Carnage, the character of Carnage, doesn't exist in this movie. He has a couple lines where I don't even know what he's trying to say. Like that's all he gets because they're cutting out. They just want the fun stuff. They just want the good action and the good funnies, and that's all they really want for this movie, which is fine. But I think this is the best Venom. I think you get the best Venom lines in here. I think you get the best Venom action in here. I think you get the best moments between Venom and Eddie. And I love seeing Woody Harrelson. And I like Venom 2 the most. But they're all, I'm not going to say they're all good. They're all bad.
They're all enjoyable. Enjoyable. That's the word we're using.
They're all an enjoyable watch. I would recommend them. I recommend every. But the reason me and Ben do this is because we love watching movies.
Love movies. So we can that movie sucks.
So yeah. Oh my god. I had no interest in watching that. Ben told me, he was like, we were actually going to do a podcast on that one. Ben was like, Borderlands is terrible. Don't even go see it. I was like, if you say so. I don't want it.
9% on Rotten Tomatoes. 9.
And that is too high.
How does Zoom, childhood movie Zoom, get a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, but Borderlands gets 9? That makes no sense to me.
Outrageous. Out there. Yeah, that's Venom. What are we doing? So Agatha All Along just ended. Me and Ben haven't seen the finale. So that's why we're not covering it.
Still waiting. Yeah, I gotta watch the finale.
Yeah, the Penguin comes out. Ben's gonna watch Smile 2 soon, so we'll do that. It'll be a lot of fun to talk about Smile 1 and Smile 2.
The forbidden movie, the movie that should not be named. Loves it.
What?
Yeah.
Smile.
And then Gladiator 2 comes out.
Gladiator 2 comes out pretty soon. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna see Heretic next week. That looks pretty solid. Do you know that movie? Heretic, sorry.
No, it's
Yeah,
okay. Guam accent goes quite crazy.
you'd be surprised.
Heretic. I don't heretic. You said. I don't know what it is. What's heretic?
It's 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it is a psychological thriller.
I am very there. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm there for
So
heretic. So that the penguin. We talked about the penguin
yeah,
already.
we talked about the
Okay, the
penguin. Yeah,
penguin. Wicked and Moana come out pretty soon,
yeah,
and Wicked Part One. Fuck you, whoever thought that was a good idea. How fucking dare you? Wicked Part One. What the? I'm
I didn't even know
triggered.
they're
I'm
doing that.
so
Now I'm
angry.
mad.
I'm so mad about that. That fucking grinds my gears, man. Like the thing you had from like the young adult novels that were made into movies that they're two parts now is like now it's we're doing that with theater shows and like a really good theater show, Wicked. It's like we didn't need Harry
Yeah,
Potter 7 part 1 and 2. We didn't need Hunger Games 3 part 1 and 2. We didn't need the end of Twilight part 1 and 2. Not that I watched it, but I know it
yeah.
happened and I wish it didn't.
Yeah.
Oh my
I never
god, grinds
understood
my
the part
gears.
one and two. Just make two different movies.
Just make the movie. Just make Wicked.
Yeah. If you want to make
Oh
two
my
different
god.
movies, don't leave a cliffhanger. It does make
Yeah.
sense.
And it's okay
But
with Mission Impossible because they changed the name and it's not part 1 anymore. It's a
yeah.
different movie.
I'm
That's
starting
that
to
whole
think
story.
that the missions are in fact possible.
Might be a little possible. But to
Mission
be fair,
Impossible 8.
those movies are awesome always.
They're like
So
wine, you know?
I don't feel bad. Those movies are all
Yeah.
great. As long as they keep being that good, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, short tangent over. Those are Venom. And that's kind of the stuff we're looking forward to.